41st comeback. How do you guys keep doing this?
I mean, we've done it so many times, so yeah, that was exciting.
The drought is over! 20 years of waiting has come to an end here in Pittsburgh! It's time to party in Miami!
The final episode of Marlins Rerun is here. And we have to talk about the Marlins clinching their ticket to the first postseason in a full season since 2003. Kyle, do you know what was going on in 2003? You know who the president was in 2003?
I do.
Tell me.
George W. Bush.
Do you know what the #1 song in 2003 was?
I do not.
In the Club by 50 Cent. I was 5. How old were you?
13. Depends. I guess it depends on what time of the year it was, but I was either 12 or 13.
12 or 13.
Yeah.
That's how long ago it was that the Marlins had punched their ticket in a full season to the postseason. So here we are, Steven Strom, Kyle Sielaff, and this was an unforgettable 72 hours, and it started in New York, and that's, I guess, what we'll start, because you got to tell the whole story. New York, crazy week. We got there on Sunday night. We didn't leave until Thursday. We only played actually 2 games because one of the games was rained out. The other one was postponed. The infamous now in Marlins history, where Miami came all the way back in that final game in New York. The officials end up saying that this is a postponement. The rain, Skip pulling out the tarp, all of that. We waited in New York until 3 in the morning. We didn't get into Pittsburgh at our hotel until 5:30 in the morning.
Sounds about right.
And the Marlins had to play not only a baseball game, the last of 3, fighting, scratching, and clawing for that final National League wildcard spot. Kyle, this was pretty symbolic on the entire season, and it started with the unknown. It ended with just pure joy and nirvana.
Yeah, I think what I think about going back is more when it all starts in February, man, and like the 6 weeks in the grind of spring training. And when I kind of reflect on what was 2023, was the expectations or lack thereof for the Miami Marlins franchise once again going into another season. There was some unknown. There was players that many in the outside world didn't really know about, and a team that had been forgotten and kind of just poo-pooed now for basically 20 years, right? So I think when you fast forward to that Saturday night in Pittsburgh, what I think about is you could almost, when Tanner Scott gets that final out, that final pitch, it felt like 20 years had been coming right off the shoulders of the entire organization, the entire franchise, the fan base.
Let's go through game 2 real quick. I know you sort of hit on it, but it started with Soler's leadoff double. I had that written down because when we went to the clubhouse that day, we both kind of looked at each other and we saw their faces and we thought, oh boy, this is over. Like you're saying, like you felt it, I saw it, and it was like now it's a matter of time. So Soler led off with a double. Jazz with another RBI single. Again, we talked about Jazz in our last Marlins Rerun episode about how that weekend against Atlanta propelled his clutch gene, whatever you want to call it. He had some big hits, the RBI single. He also had a solo home run in this one. Soler fielder's choice. Birdie scores its 3-2. Bell sac fly. All these, fielder's choice, sac flies. I mean, it was win at all costs. And then in the 8th inning, Josh Bell really broke this game open. And I think we both thought it might have been gone.
You know, it's actually cool, too, for Josh Bell, a guy that started his career in Pittsburgh and had so much success to help the Miami Marlins back in a place where it all started for Josh to help his new team to the postseason was incredible. Yeah, and I don't want to get carried away about I knew it was over, but there was I would just say there was very little stress. I think you could feel it in the clubhouse that there was a ton of confidence and very little stress. There was just, we know what we have to do, and we're going to do it. We're not worried about it, and we're going to get it done. I thought that was really cool. Again, I had never experienced or seen players in that circumstance before and been in that environment, and to see their approach to that day, to that game, just getting to the clubhouse and not doing anything different than they've done all year long, right? Get there, get your treatment, get a bite to eat. We'll go out and do our infield work, and we're just going to do it. It might be game 161, but it's no different than game 61. And I just thought that was so darn cool to see from these guys, man.
Closing thoughts here, Kyle. I want to talk a little bit about the celebration and just being a little part of it. we had a chance to go down and do interviews, and I was able to hear what Skip said live, and I know everyone saw it on camera, which I think is so cool that we get a behind-the-scenes look we give to the fans. But I remember just him saying, "Take those goggles off." I wanted goggles so bad.
Where are they?
They're in my kitchen, hanging up.
Would have been a great time to put them on display.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
We could throw I can give JC a picture of me in the goggles,
Okay.
but I remember him saying, "Take the goggles off. I
Yes.
want you guys
They
to
shouldn't
feel
have
the
them.
burn.
Yeah.
Feel the burn. You're not going to get this thing again."
You may not.
And to me, it was such in a day and age where everything's recorded and Skip made each player live in that moment, especially the ones that haven't been there before. I thought it was such a great mental tactic move, whatever you want to call it, for these guys like the Jazzes, the guys that haven't been there before. I thought it was such a beautiful way to try to capture that moment and hopefully want it for years to come.
Well, yeah, it's just something that you never want to forget because you don't know if you'll ever get back there. The truth of the matter is somebody could sustain a career
That's what I'm saying. It's
get back there.
162, man.
You
It's
might
such
play
a
for another
long
15
season.
years and you may never get back there.
Yep.
So I thought Skip said it perfectly. A guy that was very fortunate over the course of his career, his coaching career, now managing career, to be in the postseason and do it very often. You set a standard, you set a culture, but you make sure that you tell them you may never get back here. We're going to work our tails off 365 days a year to make it something, or feel like something, and make it so it's something that is more routine for this franchise, but enjoy this one because you just don't know what the future holds. And to hear that from Skip, the same guy we heard back in February after 8 long months or whatever it is, however long they ended up doing that thing for, he was phenomenal. He had unbelievable players, unbelievable franchise, terrific front office, everybody involved. It was a very, very special night.
Kyle, this has been so much fun. Marlins Nation, thank you for hanging with us the entire offseason. Hopefully we're doing the same exact episode next year. Our final one hopefully is the one where we clinch the playoffs and hopefully maybe even win a series, whatever it may be. But thank you everyone for tuning in and hanging with us. I'm Steven Strom, that's Kyle Sielaff. Everything is going to be on Apple Podcasts, our YouTube page, our Twitter page at Marlins Radio. We can't wait to have you with us in spring training and all season long. Thanks for watching and tuning in.